up, YouTube? It's your girl Jess. I'm so sorry. I have to apologize every single time because I slack. Your girl always has a lot of work. Editing is part of my job, as well as adding more hobbies to my work, which has been an adventure with the dancing and stuff. So we're out here. Just got back from tour. I've been wanting to talk about this for a minute now. What we're going to discuss is the male species. And before I talk about anything, we're talking about cis men. That's it. I'm only doing this because the subject is very little talked about, as well as a lot of people don't understand what us masculine women have to go through when it comes to them. Of course, we all know as women dealing with men, it's like this all the time. I personally, and this might come to a shock to a lot of you, do not have any male best friends or any close friends really that are the male species. Most of the people in my life are women, and that is on purpose, that is intentional, and that is how I like my life. I do that online as well. If I don't know you as a man and you're trying to follow me, I'm blocking you. I don't want to deal with the weird comments of trying to figure out as to why you even want to follow me, as well as the privilege it is to view my page and everything I post, because I work with companies like Taste and we do women-only events. So those women want to feel safe on my page as well, and that's what I am here for. Life to me is what I created as, and I feel like everybody should live their life like that, so I've created it this way because I feel safest, happiest, and most comfortable this way. That says a lot, and that's exactly what we're gonna talk about in this video, as well as other things that I feel like men need to hear, women need to relate to, and people need to understand in general. My history with men goes like this. I used to date them. I talk about this all the time. I was straight for most of my life until 22. Because of that, I was sexually engaged with them. I had to deal with more of them, and I went on dates with them. I was also around them a lot because of school and things like that. I didn't know that my life now was an option back then. And I didn't even know lesbians were really a thing at all. I had no representation around me, and it just wasn't very aware to me that I was gay. Being someone who wasn't very aware that they were gay, and someone who was involved sexually with men in ways that were consenting and sometimes not. Most of us women have been through this, sadly. Unfortunately, I didn't realize till late in my life when I was actually have consenting relations with women, when I really enjoyed it, that back then, that's not how it should have went. So you can imagine someone who is confusing attraction for admiration with men to finally coming out. And also so many years of men bullying me throughout all my school years, into my adult years, and now to this day, still dealing with this weird attitude, getting hit by men physically, getting talked to a certain way because I look like a man or act like a man, my voice sounds like a man, I'm trying to be a man. Nobody's trying to be you guys. If anything, you're trying to be like us, and let me explain. Now that I'm out, I'm proud, I'm out in the streets looking like this all the time, my hair not long at all, my voice sounding like this, my mannerisms, my muscles, all the things. Now I'm dealing with men in clubs, I'm dealing with men in public spaces, and I'm dealing with men in workplaces where commonly I am mistaken as sir, he, him, whatever. Like I said, physically hit when I'm filming, bumped into, because men do that with each other and they don't even care. Men are used to aggression from other men. Ignorance in the male species is very real. Not only do they have a lot of problems within their own species, but they also have a horrible history. Men's toxic history is so vast, they don't even realize how bad it really is. Let's talk about war. Or let's talk about all the horrible things men have done to women as far as controlling their bodies, taking their bodies away from them, doing very unnecessary, inappropriate things to them, doing violent things to women their whole lives, and still are to this day. There's generations of things being pushed down the line that they are taking forever to really understand and adapt to. But when it comes to women, we are way ahead of the game. That's why I love us so much, because we are actually emotionally intelligent. We are actually self-aware, and we actually do the work when it comes to being in touch with ourselves, our feminine side, and focusing exactly what we need to focus on in order to progress, because obviously we want to, and we want to do better for each other, for the most part. So we're just gonna dive into all the problems that I have nowadays with the male species. First of all, you guys are so big. You're just big-bodied people, right? And with more body and more bone and just height and skin and hair, ooh, you guys love to take up space. I'm sorry you're born that way, but you aren't, you know? You guys don't even care. One time I was in the club last week where there were men in there. This guy was at least 7 foot tall, and he was dancing and bumping around, and I'm at his belt buckle. That's how high he was. I'm getting hit, obviously, but I have the camera in my hand. This guy had no idea, still. And I had to push him and be like, yo, can you move? Damn, And he don't even care. And I'm watching him afterwards, he's still going. Why would you even show up, one, by yourself to just dance aggressively in front of a whole group of small women? That shit to me blows my mind. The senselessness, the unawareness, the drugs you might be on, and just the insensitivity towards other women and their spaces blows my mind. The amount of big-bodied men that try to invade our spaces, our women-only spaces, our LGBT spaces, those spaces that are supposed to be really safe for us, are always trying to be ruined. And let's talk about it. The men that are actually more in touch with their feminine side, are cleaner, smell better, aren't as hairy, aren't as unkept, are actually in touch with their feminine side. Those men tend to either be bisexual or they get bullied all the time for being that way anyways, or they get called gay or fruity or zesty or whatever the hell. Those men are related to us masculine women. And that full circle moment right there is what I was talking about in the beginning. A lot of men say that we're trying to be them, but at the end of the day, the women that are going towards the feminine men, the ones that are kept well and they look nice and they smell good and they take care of themselves and they're doing the work inside and out, they're like, you actually kind of look like a woman. You look like a stud. Because we are the standard when it comes to being kept well, smelling good, looking good, but also having those masculine features that every woman wants. We can be dominant. We can be sexy. We can have direction in our life. We can have really amazing jobs. We can have a lot of money. A lot of us can be emotionally intelligent. A lot of us can be not as toxic as men. And we have very feminine features that women want in men, but most men do not have. And you guys can tell me if I'm wrong when I say this, but not only is that shit uncommon, but also it's still a man. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a man's brain, a man's parts. And what I mean by that is a lot of them can still be very ruthless when it comes to doing the do or that type of energy, or as well as just trying to not think or be like a man is almost impossible, because at the end of the day, they're still gonna go talk that locker room talk with their male friend. They're still gonna obsess about some masculine thing in the world where that's just like, girls just aren't doing that. Most of us aren't really, it's like a primal thing. I can't really explain it as well as I really want to, but at the end of the day, if you know, you know. I've seen this firsthand. I've seen this many times where women are claiming, yeah, no, he's an amazing guy, he does all these things, but still something there. There's something there where it's like, you're still a guy. And unfortunately for you men, that's how it is when it comes to women and how they talk to each other. When I look at straight couples on TikTok right now, I am scared. I am just, are you okay? And the way you guys deal with men and what they do and what they don't do and how you just tolerate a lot, I can't relate. I mean, I could, way back when I was doing that, but that shit was me being delusional. Another thing that fascinates me about men, and recently I've been studying as I go in public with this species, is noticing how much they love to not only talk about nothing with each other, but they will also obsess about each other with each other. Men are obsessed with each other. That's one thing I feel like a lot of us are not saying enough, because if you look at the end of the day and the facts of what's really going on here, men are obsessed with each other. Talk about the most sexual, degrading things about women, thinking they're doing something, but in the same breath, they will tackle each other and be like, bro, I love you, and wrestle on the ground, maybe smack each other's butts, talk about muscles and cars and video games, all the sports in the world for hours, and feel like they did something. It's honestly a little scary sometimes when I'm in the gym and I don't have my earphones and I'm listening to their conversations, the way that they will be like, hey bro, you're getting real big, man. Yeah, how much you weigh now? How much you benching? Oh, did you take this supplement? And like, just go on and on. The amount of times that I've ever run into men and heard an emotionally intelligent conversation where I'm like, yeah, that's actually a really profound way of looking at things. Never. I don't think I've ever heard or ran into a conversation where men are doing that, where there's no women involved. Because the only reason a lot of men are talking about emotionally intelligent things is because women are involved and are pulling that out of them. Or some queer person is doing that. Because at the end of the day, we are in touch with that and we love doing that with each other and we love making sure that we're okay mentally, physically, all the things. When I look at men who are a little bit more in touch with their emotional side, dealing with other men, I feel sorry to some degree. Because it's like, damn, you really don't have anybody in your own community, your own male species, because that's all they really got. You really don't have anybody to help you. Men are not good at consoling each other when it comes to emotions. Why do you think a lot of them run to women for emotional support? Why do you think a lot of them are forcing themselves to be straight? Because they want the support, the comfort, and that familiarity of a woman's touch and nurture that they've grown up as, because a lot of them are mama's boys, or a lot of them feel like that's the only way to live because they don't even question their sexuality ever because of the way that men are pushed into society. And that brings me to the bigger thing here, is that a lot of men have grown up in a very heterosexual, toxic, monogamous mindset. This is how it is, and you're attracted to women. You're not attracted to your own people. That's disgusting, that's gross, that's shameful. And men get it so much worse with other men when it comes to being gay. If you guys know Ricky Thompson on TikTok, he had an ad on TikTok recently I just saw, and in the comments was zesty, zest boy. And it's all from men who are obsessed with commenting about another man about his sexuality. Just because it's not on gay TikTok. When I'm personally pushed on straight TikTok and men see my stuff, they are ruthless with how they come at me, with how they talk about me. A lot of how they live is pushed into everybody else that isn't like them. And they get angry, they get weird, they get emotional, and sometimes they even get violent. And don't get me started on trans people and how they are murdered by cis men all the time. Just because you as a man are confused about people that aren't like you or aren't following your book standard, do not deserve anything that you have to say. Just think for a second. Maybe process what you're feeling and dive deep into that feeling. Does violence really need to exist here? Why does violence show up in your life so much? Why do you have to rush to the feeling of, I need to hurt this person, I need to harm this person, take their life away because I don't understand them? Because all of a sudden they're making me feel insecure for existing so confidently and I can't do that? Let's really talk about it. The amount of aggression I deal with when it comes to men, insane. And because I look like a man, now I have to deal with all the repercussions of being in the male society in public. I definitely get a lot more respect, a lot more consideration about my pronouns, about who I am as a person when it comes to women. And how many women are silenced every day? All the time, every day. Why would I give this blessing of my existence to a species that has never respected us and still doesn't? And let's also talk about the fact that a lot of straight men don't even really like women. You guys actually really hate women, really, if you think about it. A lot of y'all do disgusting, horrible things to them. The history of men and women have always been imbalanced. Men have always tried to silence us. They're always trying to control us. Around the world, women are still very, very controlled. And even still to this day, the law is trying to tell us how to live. And what is the law run by? What is it written by? What's the history of the law? Men. What is the real problem of most of our problems when it comes to war and economic disasters and the horrible things in this world? Men. Men's ignorance, their egos, their history. One thing I've also noticed about us masculine lesbians is that there's like one of two masculine lesbians that you are going to run into. One is that they are like me. They don't associate with men. They don't really hang out with them. They don't really have a lot of men in their lives on purpose because they understand. They get it. I love us soft babies, us ones in touch with our feminine side, and the ones that are healthy. Then you have the ones that aren't as healthy, that do cheat, that do the things that men do. Why? Because they are hanging out with men. Men are their best friends. I am so confused why you guys still associate with them so hard and ride or die for them. And a lot of them love living in that ignorance and that mindset and that belief and that comfort of male security and friendship and bonding, because that's what they're used to growing up, or that's what they're used to with their history. Those are usually the people that are almost like men. And that's where this stereotype that masculine women are like men or are worse than men. It's because of those people that are hanging out with men. Men are the root problem with all these issues, guys. I don't know if you're seeing the correlation here, but I sure am. Let's keep it going a little bit longer. I've also dealt with men who have gotten aggressive with me because of women I'm dating and the hand I'm holding or the attention I get on social media or anything like that where they feel like they're not getting it and they deserve that. If it's not obvious with all the facts in this video, it's because you guys aren't doing your job. You're not doing the work, and we are. We have been, and we had to. That's kind of the reason we are so good at this, because we have the blueprint of what not to do. Because of you. I love it here, man. I love being a masculine woman, and a lot of masculine women who aren't very proud of that or don't realize their power are sleeping on themselves. But because I'm awake and I really understand who I am and what I bring to the table, it's awarded me many amazing things in this life. And there have been so many beautiful, amazing sights that I have witnessed on my lap, between my legs, and everything in between that you can only imagine. And there's no reason for me to ever flex or have to prove anything to a man because one, obviously I don't care, but two, I have nothing to prove. And that is a reason why a lot of men say so much, because they feel like they have something to prove and people aren't hearing them. So I'm not gonna tell you guys what to do. I'm not even gonna give you guys any help. I was just here to point out the obvious and make sure that you guys understand that it is important to do the work. So maybe you can get like a fraction of what it feels like to be a masculine woman. And even if it's not aggression or anger, any of those things that are ugly when it comes to men, I still will get weird vibes from men who definitely feel some type of way. If you're asking too many questions, if you're making too many little hiki jokes, you're doing a lot. It says something, it reaches down into you and it makes you want to understand. You're perplexed, you're confused. And I just love that for us because we just exist and you guys get so bothered, so intrigued. The only men that actually get it are the ones that don't pay us much mind. in a way that's weird or aggressive, and they just live their lives and mind their business, because their only business should be what a man is and what men do. And if all men really did that, and if you guys were a little bit more introspective, and you guys were a little bit more in touch with your side, your feminine side, your heart, the things that really matter in this world, I feel like at least 50% of the male population, when they really validated that within themselves, would be gay. Let's really talk about it. Like I said, men love each other, and it blows my mind the depths that they will go to prove something to one another, express their masculinity or their manhood to another. It is never for us. They're not buying these big trucks or working out endlessly, getting this high-paying job in order to press us. It's for each other. And men thrive with other male validation. And although a lot of straight men could say that that's how they really feel, at the end of the day, I feel like they're just trying to find all these male traits within a woman and be like, I want a best friend, I want a homeboy, but in a girl. Just try it out with another male partner. Women are doing it. Why can't you do it? There's nothing wrong with that. And everything that you've learned about that being wrong should be questioned. Everything about sexuality should be questioned. And this goes for everybody. I encourage every single person in this world to try. Whatever society told you to do, I dare you to try outside of that. That's enough advice for my male people out there. But for my people, my gay, masculine women out there who have to deal with all this bullshit all the time, I hear you. I feel you. That's exactly why I made this video. To voice exactly how we feel and to let out that But the more that we talk about it, the more that we stand strong in our presence, and the more that we really just live unapologetically as ourselves in this world amongst the straights, we will prevail eventually, because they'll finally have to listen. The more that we force our presence, the more that we are loud and take up space like they do, man spread all that, they have to respect us. Slowly but surely, laws are changing. Slowly but surely, people are coming out. Slowly but surely, people are becoming educated. And the more that we talk about it, the more that we can spread the word and get the respect that we finally fucking deserve. I would love to live to see a day where that is very common and it's not hard for us to live, and women are free to live as themselves without the control of the male species. Woo! Let's keep being us. I love you guys. I love our community. I love being a masculine woman, and I'm not trying to be like a guy. Ever. Peace.